Gabriella here with Learned Potential, where the mission is an exceptional educational experience for diverse learners. I'm sharing 5 essential tips for supporting our diverse learners during this distance education period that we are in. Before we get into the 5 tips, let's discuss what a diverse learner truly is. A diverse learner is a learner from a culturally diverse, racially diverse, linguistically diverse, ethnically diverse, and or socioeconomically diverse background. They are also learners who learn differently from what would be considered the majority of learners. I would be considered a diverse learner because of the fact that I was born outside of the United States and I have a different ethnicity in addition to a different cultural background. That impacts the way in which I learn and the way I process information and also how I communicate with others. When we're thinking about our diverse learners, thinking about all of the parts that make up who they are and how that impacts the way that they take in information, their input, and the way that information comes out, their output. Now, let's get into 5 tips to support our diverse learners during this distance education period. Tip number 1, stay in contact. Parents and educators should be communicating on an almost regular basis. Weekly is ideal to ensure that students are staying on track, they are safe and well, they are getting their questions answered. This is a very difficult time for all of us, especially our little ones. So we want to ensure that we're keeping those open lines of communications so that way everyone is on the same page as to what to expect. Tip number 2, create a schedule together. This one might be the most difficult to implement given the whole transition of everything that's been going on. And if you're a parent that's working currently while this is happening, then it might be difficult to keep track of that schedule. But by no means does that schedule have to be perfect. It could simply just be times and activities. For example, during this time in the morning, we do reading. After that, we do a project or we paint or we go outside. Then this time is lunchtime. After that, we do a math activity, and then after that, we do something else. It can be a 4 or 5 item schedule that can help build routines day by day. Teachers can send home schedules that students can follow. If you're a parent who is not home all the time, then a schedule might be helpful, so that way when you do check in, then you can see, okay, is my child on schedule as to what they should be doing. So they really help build a sort of visual reference as to what's expected and what your child can practice doing on a daily basis. Tip number 3 is to be flexible. And I know I just said, hey, build a schedule, but we also have to be flexible because this is new for all of us and especially for our students. So if the schedule doesn't go as planned, that's okay. If we want to do something different today, that's okay too. We have to be flexible with ourselves, with our students, with our teachers, so that way we can just better understand what actually works for us. We got to try different things and be flexible about what's working and what's not working. Number 4 is to read every day and do a math activity every day. In one of my previous videos, I said the same thing, just 2 things that we can do every day to support our students. And reading every day is guaranteed, as well as doing math every day. And number 5, which in my opinion is one of the most important things, that is to have those age-appropriate discussions about what's actually happening. And when I say age-appropriate, meaning if you have a younger one, you can discuss washing hands and doing everything to make sure that they are getting rid of germs and that they are staying healthy, that is an age appropriate discussion. If you have a student that is in a middle school and somewhere in between, then you can discuss, well, what would happen if this were to spread, or what are just some of the consequences of someone getting sick who does not have a healthy body. And then, of course, if you have an older student, high school, or and so on, then you can also refer them to facts, some actual facts of reading up on the body and what happens if they were to get sick and why it's important for them to always remain healthy and do what they need to do to stay healthy and stay away from anyone who may have the virus. Those were 5 tips for supporting our diverse learners during this distance education period. I really hope those were helpful. Please share any additional tips that have been helpful for you. You can either comment below or continue to send those emails. Those emails have been extremely helpful in making videos that answer your questions. So if you have any more questions, please send those to info@learnedpotential.com. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, stay safe and take care.